themselves tested, and if they tested positive as far as the doping was concerned. Now we have the alleged breach of biosecurity protocols. It's becoming complicated day by day, year by year, month by month. Now, a few players are caught in this alleged bio bubble protocol. And how? What was the source of this information? Believe it or not, it was pseudo media or known as social media. Well, it does make me a little angry if I look at this because the source was an ordinary individual who, in his propensity to get noticed, said or alleged that he lied on this platform, which is a web of lies, anyways, that these players hugged me, they weren't wearing masks. And then the two governing bodies went ahead and said they would be isolated. And then, of course, the whole controversy of whether the players want to play in the Brisbane test, which is happening just a week from now. In fact, the third one hasn't begun, and they're already creating so much ripples around the fourth one. Welcome to episode 308 on the 4th of January 2021. Tonight's episode, this morning's episode, in fact, is a live commentary of the match between Melbourne Stars and Hobart Hurricanes. That is the Australian 20 over domestic World Cup, or known as the BBL. We shall be doing the live commentary as well as discussing this whole fanatism that we have for players. If this particular breach was done by any other sports person, any other, if it was a hockey team, the football team, or the singles competition like PV Sindhu, Saina Nehwal, or any of the wrestlers, it would have gone unnoticed or they would have been punished. But we have an obsession around cricket. That's number one. There is this obsession around cricket. Then these are superstars. We put them on such a pedestal that if they make a mistake, it's as if they're putting the entire country to shame, which does put me to shame because why are we giving them so much importance? The match is going to begin in just a couple of minutes. So let's discuss this alleged breach of protocol further. As I said, it was from an individual's social media. First, he said the players hugged him, went near him, weren't wearing masks, and then he recanted his entire whatever he said, whether it's confession or thing. He said in a moment of excitement, he decided to say this. So, who should be actually punished, or at least this individual should be asked that why did you do this? But on the other hand, the fanaticism, and we put these players on such a high pedestal that it's difficult to come to a decision that should it happen or should it not happen. But let's not complicate it. This will be discussed as we go on with this match. Now let's discuss this match. As we all think that the Indian 20 over domestic World Cup or the IPL is the best 20 over domestic competition in the world. Domestic World Cup competition in the world. Okay, it is. But where the IPL has the glamour, the BBL or its Australian counterpart has the professionalism. Let's start the match. All right, so match is between Melbourne Stars and Hobart Hurricanes. And to let individuals know there are a few individuals from this team who played in that Indian competition. There are a few players who will not be known. I have been following this competition for the past 10 years because this is its 10th year. Yes, Indian players are not a part of this competition, though I have been saying that Indian players should be allowed to play. But why does the Indian Cricket Board not do that? Simply because they think that this is a competition. Well, it's literally a competition to them. If Indian players start playing this, or if they are allowed to breach that NOC, then maybe people won't watch the Indian version. Well, that's double standards because the Indian Cricket Board literally forces other players to come and play for them. They pay in huge numbers, means the price, they almost treat players like objects as far as the definition of auction is concerned, because I don't like the concept of auction as far as buying or selling players is concerned. This was obviously taken from the NBA or NFL, which the tournaments which happen in USA. Now let's start as Riley Meredith bowls to Andre Fletcher, and the first ball has been edged past a vacant slip for four. So Melbourne Stars begin on a high note, and remember, who are the common players a few people will connect with? Andre Fletcher, yes, he's played for West Indies and maybe a few matches for the Indian domestic World Cup. There is Marcus Stoinis, who played for Delhi. And then Marcus Stoinis, after nearly 14 matches, was promoted to open for the Delhi team because he was opening for the Melbourne team. Then a few known players are Glenn Maxwell, who was criticized because he was paid in huge numbers, and yet he didn't perform as far as the performance at that tournament goes. Another brilliant delivery as this one is yorked out. And when it comes to, yeah, now it's a quite a humorous situation that someone like Glenn Maxwell plays well in this tournament, but when it comes to the Indian tournament, he's averaging 15, as if numbers ever make a difference. But he's playing, he is the captain of this team, he's in control, it's his home team, he's in home country, he's comfortable in that. The bio bubble is a part of this, but it's still better. There are a lot of, I think a few Indian players could have played. Raina retired, yes. Dhoni retired, yes. Yuvraj Singh, this one inside edge, beats the stumps, and the luck continues for Andre Fletcher as he moves on to 10 of 3 balls, and the score is none for 10. So, as I was saying, should Indian players be allowed to play in this? Well, first, the ego of the Indian Cricket Board has to be diminished. They should be allowed. I would have allowed them. And this was a very close call. It would have gone either way. Goes past the keeper. Dhoni has been kind of semi-retired ever since 2016-17. Yes, he has a contract with the Chennai team that he's going to play with them, but then he is now a freelancer. He can play with any team. So why not allow, if Afghanistan allows Rashid Khan to play, because Afghanistan literally doesn't even play any match. If you look at this, Afghanistan doesn't even play, as this ball is a high bouncer but called a wide. So Afghanistan doesn't play too many international matches, 20 overs, 50 overs, or any of them. And Rashid Khan plays for Adelaide in Australia and Hyderabad in India. And if you ask these players which team would they choose, well, you could put a gun on their head literally and say play for Hyderabad, not for Adelaide. But will we see two top teams, let's say Perth Scorchers versus Mumbai Indians, if we're going by those names? Yes, Mumbai has won 5 times, but teams like Sydney, and this time, is that an edge? Yes. Fletcher's luck runs out as he edges this one. And interestingly, there is no DRS in this competition because of the cost factors associated with DRS. But we'll come to that later on as the wicket falls. All right. Okay. So edged and a good catch taken. So the luck runs out, couple of inside edges, past the wicket slip, and well, the question will be, was there a bump ball? No, it went straight to the keeper. There was an appeal. The umpire said you're gone. So Andre Fletcher goes for 10. It's 1 for 11. All right. Let's continue with this very interesting story. So let's continue with, should Indian players be allowed to play in this tournament? Well, this tournament is already a few years old. That is well known. But if you ask me, yes, Indian players should be allowed to play in this particular tournament. But that's a debate which has been going on for years, and not everybody will agree to this, because there is a presumption that the Indian version is more professional and so much is happening. But we can, discuss that for years to come. That is the Indian version more professional or not? That let that be late to rest. I think I've seen both tournaments. That is glamour here. The time is spent on the sport, not on external things like strategic timeout and a 20-minute break between two innings. That's too long a break. And teams taking nearly 2 hours to complete a 20 overs. Well, that's something that is indiscipline. And I've seen that throughout the tournament. We praise the Indian Cricket Board for organizing that. Well, I will praise the Australian Cricket Board to organize that in their own country. That is a bigger deal. But it's a controversial thing, but we all love that. So let's continue talking controversies, because that's how the cookie crumbles. So let's continue this semi-controversial match. All right. Now let's get back to the match. We're all ready. The first over is done, and Johan Botha is into the attack. Those who don't know who is Johan Botha, he was a former South African player, now an Australian citizen, playing for the Australian team. He came out of retirement to specially play for this tournament. But we can get into that later on. All right, let's see. As we get ready, we'll just take a couple of minutes before I start the second over. So the Australian, this is match number 23, and they have this very unique system of power surge and substitutes, X factor. Power surge means that we all know in 20 overs, in sports, there is this concept of power plays, where 6 overs the fielders are restricted inside the circle, not too many outside the 30-yard or the 25-yard circle, depending on the nature of the match. It's 50 overs, 20 overs, women's match, men's tournament.
It's 10:45.
Depending on those minor things. Right? Okay. Let's continue with the match. As Botha gets ready. So 1.2 overs, 1 for 18. And Stoinis had probably hit a 6, so going at 13.5 runs per over. Well, I do like this. I mean, I have enjoyed this tournament. It happens quickly, no time is wasted. A 20 over match is supposed to be completed in 3 hours or maximum 3 hours, 20 minutes, and they don't breach that. Talking about breach, Indian players breaching protocols. Now, from nowhere, a photo of Kohli and Hardik Pandya turns up, who went shopping for whatever personal reasons. It wasn't reported. It's a month old incident or breach of protocol. Kohli is back home. He is self isolating at home. Pandya is back home. So there's no point sanctioning them now. But should the Indian players be sanctioned, suspended, 5 players? I think they should not be. First of all, the source of the information of this alleged protocol breach is itself dubious. So, first, the alleged dubious situation. This time it's cut away and it's gone for 4 as Nick Larkin gets on the back foot and Johan Bota's first over hasn't gone according to plan. It was short of the back foot and that's sped away to the boundary for a 4. And the best part about this is there are crowds. And of course, as far as the Brisbane test and quarantine is concerned, well, should we feel for the players or should we not feel for the players for quarantining themselves? Well, one school of thought says yes, there's a two says that if they weren't interested, they shouldn't have come for the tour, as a lot of players have opted out of tournaments. But now the fact that they have come, then it means only one thing, that they're here to stay. They will have to live by the rules, whatever be the situation. They will have to go by the rules set by the respective governing bodies and the state governments and all that is happening. So yeah, I mean, it's a difficult thing. Should one feel for the players or should one not feel for the players? I think maybe we should. I if I was the governing body, I'm not, but if I was the governing body, well, I am still the governing body. As far as this is concerned, I would say it's fine. The source is dubious. I wouldn't take the source seriously at all. I would say it's fine. No need to get too carried away by all this by all this situation. No need to be influenced. I would say it's fine. They didn't break any protocol because the individual who said those things itself had lied. So I would let it go. I would say fine. Doesn't It's fine. It's not a very big deal. But then one doesn't know what people have in mind. So let's just wait. There's nothing you can do about it. It's all a waiting game now. It's all about a waiting game. What are the two governing bodies thinking? They should take a decision by now. They can't wait because there's only a couple of days left before the match starts. So I would just say let it go. I would say just let it go. So as we get ready, 2.1 overs, 1 for 22. Stoinis on strike, Larkin. Stoinis, who impressed in the domestic tournaments, surprised, and there are a few surprises. Do you all remember this player called Matt Renshaw? Australia right now, as far as the test match is concerned, have opening problem. They don't have settled openers. They have literally burned Joe Burns, and he's back to playing for Brisbane Heat. He plays for them. So there are a few good openers who could have been drafted into the team. There's Matt Renshaw, the guy is 23. He can bowl. So I don't even know what is the trouble. But that's something which we will never know what is in the mind of the selectors. We think they're flexible by having a few individuals, or we think they are rigid by not selecting others' form, and this player hasn't played these many matches. We are so reliant upon their domestic numbers. Natarajan, for example, hasn't played domestic matches. On the other hand, Shalur Thakur may play and he may provide that batting all-rounder thing. I, of course, the whole thing around Rohit Sharma is now becoming a joke, right? But that's something we can keep debating about, and there is no answer to it. As we get ready, 2.5 overs, 1 for 22. And after this, we'll be taking a short break. So it's almost a maiden over Westcott Boland, a former Australian player, I would say. Still an active player, but discarded by the Australian team as doesn't have a maiden. 3 gone, 1 for 23. It's time to take a short break. We are back live as we get ready. 3 overs, 1 for 23. Let's get into that mode of discussion. It's such a brilliant debate, right? About who should play, who should not play. As we get ready for the third over, this man started around 10:30, and in around 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes, just over 20 minutes, they have completed 3 overs. Yes, even in the Indian version they do, but as soon as a strategic timeout and whatnot comes, which the Lanka domestic World Cup tried to copy, the match becomes 2 hours. As Nathan Ellis, another fast bowler, comes, we get excited by these fast bowlers every time they come. They bowl at 150 and okay, yeah. But then the question comes: can they do this bowling for 15 overs in a day, 20 overs in a day, and all that Test versus ODI versus 20 over debate, which is I find it very immature, but that's the way it is. And then we give so much importance to Brett Lees and McGrath. They are good players, but for me they were always fringe. As we get ready for the second ball of the fourth over, Nathan Ellis running in, bowling over 150 to Stoinis, who once again tries to cut, but straight to the keeper. There are a few individuals, apart from Stoinis, Maxwell, then Nicholas Puran also, who was known for taking that good catch in that tournament. Now, Australia has 120 over domestic tournament, they have a 50 over, and they have their 5-day matches. What puzzles me is why does India have two 20 over domestic tournaments? Because I don't see the point of having that Syed Mushtaq Ali trophy. It's a waste of time. Nobody gives importance to it. This time he's cut away, and that's cut away pass point. No one moved an inch and it's gone to the boundary for 4. Astronis just leaps on the front foot and has smacked it away. A good shot, a very good shot by Marcus Stoinis. A good player. One for 27. In 3.3 overs. This time, that's cut away, short, wide, and it's a 6. He went back and across that Marcus Stoinis. And this one reached into the boundary for a beautiful 6. What a shot. The first ball was not too short. This time it was short, wide, off the back foot, the shorter boundaries into the ground. And this match is happening, I suppose, at Hobart, Bluntstone Arena. This is happening in Tasmania, in fact. Sorry, my bad. So how many runs can the Melbourne Stars get? They're not the former champions. Melbourne Renegades are former champions. As we get ready, this time he defends a solid defensive shot, 3.5 overs, 1 for 33. So 10 runs from this over so far. As we get ready for the final ball of the 4th over, this time he flicks it away and this will be cut off for 2 runs, ends the over, 4 gone, 1 for 35. So let's continue this alleged breach of protocol discussion. Well, it does make me a little annoyed that we have such discussion in the first place. And which is a better tournament is something that we can debate for the rest of our lives. But the best part about this tournament is that it starts on time, it ends on time. There is a lot of discipline as far as the tournament is concerned. And there are no complications. There are nothing like that happens, but that's how it is. As we get ready, Riley Meredith appeals, doesn't work. 1 for 36, 4.2 overs, Stoinis on 20 of 14 deliveries. And this one, he plays it away over the fielder, and the longer boundaries means that he will have to settle for 2 runs. The ball is fielded by Darcy Short. Who is Darcy Short? This guy played with in that tournament. We all know that.
It's 11 hours.
As Meredith bowls to Stoinis, appeal, but this time it's going down leg. Fast delivery, but missing leg by a long margin. As he's bowling those in swingers into the left pad, and Stoinis is standing outside leg, and this one was sliding. The interesting part is this tournament, doesn't have what one calls the DRS, because it's a contract between the broadcasters and the governing body, and maybe the broadcasters are not willing to put in money for it, which is why they think the Indian tournament is slightly better. This time he pulls, no fielder over there, but it will be cut off at the mid-wicket boundary as they come back for 2 runs. So the ball got big on him and he was only able to sustain 2 runs. And as far as the players playing in those, well, this could have been a great opportunity for someone like MS Dhoni to get a contract. He's anyways nearing 40. He could have played a few matches. He could have been that marquee player. There could have been Yuvraj Singh, who's also nearing 40. Raina, who is still young compared to what the definition of young is in sports. This time, Larkin pulls, and this will be taken. A good delivery ends the over. Meredith gets a wicket. Stars in bit of trouble, which means Maxwell will join and we'll see some fun happening. It's 2 for 39. Hmm. 2 for 39. Let me just read out those ironical lines which was said by this individual, and then later on it was revealed that he was kidding. A social media post by a fan sparked concern on Saturday, with the Australian Cricket Board or Cricket Australia hinting at a possible breach of biosecurity protocols by 5 Indian players. Well, the important words here are a social media post by a fanatic. It's not something that can be seen as gossip. It's not truth. Social media is of the liars, for the liars, by the liars. It's all about that. As the power surge, the power play over ends, as we know, there are 4 overs of power play, right? In fact, that was a no ball. No, that's not a no ball. How is that a no ball? That is not a no ball. That's a controversial. If they're calling it a no ball, then how is that a no ball? Okay, in fact, was they were checking the no ball. All right, it was the catch. The previous replay being shown, it bounced on his mouth, which means they will have to change the ball. Taken by Tim David, they may have to change the ball because it hit him on his mouth. Well, the players can't stop balls hitting on their mouth. Should they be allowed not to take catches? Or should they drop the catch because it was on his mouth? Larkin departs, it's 2 for 39. Of course, the Indian players were without masks and they will have to train separately to prevent any interaction with other players. But first, this whoever this individual was who created this controversy said that the players hugged him, or a certain player hugged him and thanked him for footing the bill. Well, I'm sure nobody wants anybody else to foot the bill. That is absolute nonsense. And then he said, I never went near them. So then, why are we in this situation? Let's just forget it, because it was anyways on social media, which is a gospel of lies. It's of the liars, for the liars, by the liars. As 5.4 overs have been completed so far. It's 2 for 40. Maxwell comes in, and of course his comparison with his performance in the Indian domestic competition carries on forever. That doesn't end. But let's see what happens. As Maxwell defends Sandeep Lameshane, one of the few players to actually play for Nepal. He's around 20 years of age now. He was a former player of Melbourne Stars. He was in quarantine, and I think this term quarantine is now becoming a joke. Why don't you just rename it house? Why don't you just call it detention? Like uh, students are detained for bad behavior. On one hand, there is doping. On other hand, there is this bio bubble protocol. Yes, the cricket boards are working hard to make sure that players don't get infected or fall ill. But after a while, it becomes a joke. As 6 overs completed, 2 for 42. That's the way it is, and there is nothing anyone can do about it, and which really makes me very angry. So this ends episode number 308 on the 4th of January 2021, a special live commentary episode of the Australian 20 over domestic competition, Melbourne Stars versus Hobart Hurricanes, and all the controversies surrounding the breach of protocols and whether it was supposed to be taken as truth or just ignored. That depends on the two governing bodies. So, thank you for watching this episode. I will be back for the next episode. So, let's continue. 6 overs gone, another 14 overs to go, another 50 minutes to go. 6 overs gone, 2 for 42 as Maxwell gets ready. Meredith bowls and Maxwell defends, bowling at a good pace with Riley Meredith having taken two big wickets. Since it's a double header, imagine a double header on Monday. Can you imagine a double header on Monday? Well, it's a strange way the tournament schedule is done, but they have to follow rules. It's not happening in the usual grounds. There are some uh, neutral grounds. As this time Maxwell pulls away, beats the inner wing, and he will come back for two. There is also this guy called Peter Hanscom who's already played around 20 matches. Why wasn't he in the team? He's a good player. He has a good future. So this does puzzle me that why is someone like Peter Hanscom, Matt Renshaw not playing those matches? Why are they are good players? I would even have Maxwell play the test match. Who cares? As Maxwell pulls in his unusual stance, but straight to the fielder. 2 for 45, 6.3 overs, just going under 7 to the over, 6.9 to be exact, but up. But that's something that can be debated. As we get ready, so hmm. So look at Maxwell's scores: 46, 39, 70, 71, 23, and right now on 5. And in the Indian tournament, literally nothing. As chance of a run out, missed by Hanscom, single taken, 6.5 overs, 2 for 47. But if Maxwell doesn't perform, then imagine if Raina was playing for this tournament. It would have snowballed into a controversy. Why? Because he did play in the Indian tournament, but he agreed to go to Australia to play in this tournament. And of course, I read his interview that, of course, the whole family versus profession debate comes into play. That's something which I'll avoid. But I would have given him the permission. Yeah, go and play for other tournaments. Yes, age is a factor. Dhoni's age is a factor which can be understood. But when he's still young, he's retired. He has to earn a living unless he is given the role of a commentator by the broadcasters. Well, I will accept even accept Roina as a commentator because he has the experience. He is one of the top fielders. So I'll agree with him. But I would have allowed him to play in this tournament despite all the controversies, all the things called professional or tournament rivalry. As the over ends 7 gone, 2 for 47, time for a short break. We are back as we get ready. 7 overs had been completed, 2 for 48. Maxwell still struggling to get going, though he played a good knock against the team in their previous encounter. This is a return encounter, one supposes. As we get ready, Sandeep Lamishane, a former Melbourne Stars player, never played for the Indian tournament, though I don't recall if he's played for the Indian tournament. But if I was, of course, now, next year, that is in 2022, they will have 10 teams. 10 team means a longer tournament. As if the tournament doesn't get long, means this tournament doesn't seem long because it happens quickly. No time is wasted. Yes, of course, there will be internal strife, but I've been watching this tournament. I missed a few because of the time at which the tournament happens. But before you know, this match started at 10:30 IST. It will finish by 2 p.m. IST. As Maxwell tries to reverse sweep and the umpire says you are gone. With no DRS, Maxwell has to depart, and his over aggression, over eagerness to try the reverse sweep or the switch hit fails, doesn't work. It was a quick delivery. Maxwell tried to go big, missed completely. It hit him on the back leg. Appeal by the umpire, who took a couple of seconds and said, "Back on your way, son." So Maxwell's strange tournament continues. Melbourne in huge trouble at 3 for 49. And 3 for 49, Melbourne Stars are in big trouble. Remember, Maxwell also had a strange Indian tournament. Of course, Nicholas Puran comes into play right now. And that will be a very interesting thing to say as to how someone like Nicholas Puran carries this on. It's curious. As Nicholas Puran and Maxwell, as Nicholas Puran, of all individuals, I mean, if you look at this, all these players had to go through extensive bio bubbles protocols. Nicholas Puran, who was as a West Indian player in West Indies, in New Zealand, so there is some kind of a free movement between New Zealand and Australia. They have some kind of an agreement. So he was in quarantine in New Zealand, so he probably didn't have to go through a quarantine as far as this tournament is concerned. So Puran comes in. It's 11:15. He's been in good form as far as this tournament is concerned. Couple of good knocks, 65 of 26 a couple of matches ago. First ball, flicked, no runs. Seven and a half overs, 8th over, 3 for 49. Now it's up to the experience of Puran and Stoinis, who will have to do something special as far as taking this with the power surge is concerned, where they can take advantage of the fielding restriction which can happen after the 10th over. So will they do it? As Puran plays this ball and he is off the mark 3 for 50 after 7.4 overs. Stone is on 26. No England player, very few England players are playing in this because they're all ready to go to, I suppose, Sri Lanka. This time he played Stoinis defense. So all the England players are quarantined in Sri Lanka because a tournament is going to start there very soon. So they need to have that 14, 15-day quarantine, except for Alex Hales and a few individuals who probably will never get a chance to play for England as the over ends 8 gone, 3 for 50. It's strange. Imagine if David Warner, Kane Williamson, Steve Smith had said we will not play the Indian domestic league. It could have created a big controversy. They would have said, we are paying you in billions, millions. We are paying you, we are paying for your hotels, for your accommodation, for all the things. So you cannot say no to us. The same thing is happening here also. Okay, there is a test match, so there's a lot of clash and everything happening. But Steve Smith said even after the test match is finished, he will not play in this particular tournament because of all the biosecurity protocols, the bubbles, the quarantine, the detention, all that stuff. Well, imagine if Virat Kohli tomorrow says that I will not play in the domestic league because I want a break. Imagine if Virat Kohli had taken a similar break before he had taken a break, as Scott Boland comes back into the attack, who bowled well in the first over, nearly took out a maiden. That would never happen. But breaching protocol is something that everybody focuses on, and that irritates me to the core. I'm not a fan of that breaching protocol thing. Yes, you break the rules, you have to be punished, but let's just not get too this thing about it. Test them. Yes, we saw what happened to Jofra Archer, who had broken the rules and he had to miss one match. But that was right in the beginning. So a lot of things weren't clear. And I don't think going out shopping, first of all, this is also this now, if Virat Kohli and Hardik Pandya hadn't posted that photo, it would have never been noticed. But they have this ego to post that photo. It's ego. We have to post a photo of everything. We have to tell the whole world what we are doing. We are shopping, and whatever their personal thing is, they put a photo, they put on all the pseudo media platforms, on every platform available, and then it's connected to breaching protocols, how it happened, why it happened, as if it's not a protocol, it's something of a felony, a misdemeanor. No, it's not. Yes, you are going to another country, you have to observe the rules, but I'm sure he must have taken permission before going. You can't just go. You, of course, you need to tell people. The whereabouts clause is there in the NADA thing, so there must be some permission taken. And I don't think just going, and if that had happened, why are we making it a big deal a month or two after it has happened? It doesn't make a difference now. Kohli is back. How will you punish Kohli? Tell him not to play. He's anyways not playing till February. He's not going to play any sport till February. Will he play in that Mustaq tournament? He will not play in that Syed Mustaq Ali trophy. Because if he plays in that Syed Mustaq Ali trophy, then that's another controversy. Why did he stay back in Australia? So he will not play any competitive cricket till whatever he took a leave for happens. We know what is happening. I won't go into that. So, anyways, let's get back to the match. As we come to the end of the ninth over, Stoinis pulls and beats the fielder. 8.5 overs. It's 3 for 55. if the Melbourne Stars have any chance of getting to a good score, it's up with Maxwell gone and Cartwright to follow. It's up to Stoinis, Puran, and Hilton Cartwright because Stoinis is the settled guy here. He's hitting fours with disdain. This time, straight to the fielder, 9 gone, 3 for 55. As we get ready, Darcy shot another one of those dibbly dobbly all rounders comes into the play. He will bolt a left arm spinner to a left hander. This time Puran tries to pull but doesn't connect well and a single taken. 3 for 56, 9.1 overs. The run rate has fallen from 7 to 6, and at this rate, they will get to 120 or 130. But they need to get to 150 if they have any chance of defending the score or whatever. It's all up to Stoinis, Puran, and of course, Hilton Cartwright. As Darcy shot bowls, single taken, and even Marcus Stoinis is not bowling. And yeah, that's how it is. And Zasi shot bowls to Puran, who once again tries a mighty heave-ho and just a single. So he is getting nervous. 4 of 7 will make him nervous and make his teammates and his selection committee nervous because he's been brought for that hitting prowess, which he is known for, which he did in that tournament. He was a part of the Punjab team as Darcy shot bowls. Stoinis pulls, but smartly arranged fielders means 1 run per ball. 4 balls, 4 runs doesn't hurt Hobart Hurricanes. They have to get somehow to 160. Somehow they have to just bludgeon their way to 160. This time Puran plays flicks and will beat the fielder for a boundary. That makes it 7 of the 8 of this over. So the over now turned out to be expensive. It was wide and it was over point. No need to run for that. A brilliant shot. Could have gone anyway. As the final ball, this time Puran plays, misses, ends the over. There's one more ball left here. Ends the over. 10 gone, 3 for 63. And it's time for a short break. So how many runs can Melbourne get? At 3 for 63, they need all the firepower of Puran and others. Well, the pressure is rising. 3 for 63 doesn't sound a happy time for Melbourne Stars. Imagine Sydney Sixers versus Mumbai Indians in the final, determine which is the best domestic team. Of course, we presume that Bombay is the best domestic team because they have won 5 championships, but they haven't played other tournaments. So I wouldn't really agree that Mumbai Indians are the best team unless they play teams from other tournaments. What about playing a tournament from the Caribbean 20 over tournament? What about the Sri Lanka 20 over tournament? What about even starting that Champions League again? But well, that's ambitious. So 3 for 63. Johan Botha back onto the attack. This time, Stoinis says, "Thank you so much." On the pads, a gift on the pads, and this one is into the crowd. Well, if the crowds catch it, the ball will have to be sanitized or changed, and that is something the organizers will have to live with. Yes, we have allowed crowds, but the sanitization process will continue. Well, the interesting part is David Hussey, a former Australian player, is the coach of Melbourne and the coach of Calcutta. And Brendan McCallum is the coach of Brisbane, a former Brisbane player, and is also a part of the coaching staff of Brisbane and Calcutta. He's a former player of from Calcutta. He played for Calcutta, he played for Bangalore, he played for Chennai, he played for Gujarat, 4 teams. And then, of course, 10 team means it will be more than a 2 month tournament. As if the 8 weeks are not enough, make it a 10-week tournament. Well, whatever it is. Means each team now gets 8 games or 9 games per means they have to one they get extra games means a lot of bio means more time spent in the biosecurity, and it could be possible that more captains will be discovered. Rishabh Pant could get his own team if he is not getting the chance in Delhi. Whichever new team comes, I will take him up and say you are the captain. Take a gamble with someone like Rishabh Pant. You gave a chance to Iyer, you gave a chance to Rohit Sharma, you given a chance to Kohli, Dhoni. Even Raina can come with his own team. Maybe Raina doesn't want to be a part of Chennai. Yes, there is a respect between Raina and Dhoni, but he is 34. He got a chance when he was the captain for 2 years in Gujarat. A team which did well, but let's see what happens. As Johan Botha bowls, trying to bowl the fifth ball of this over, and Puran defends. So 9 from this over so far, 3 for 72. At this rate, they should get to 160, but it's too early to call whether they can get to 160. It's too early to call for the 160 run mark. The 160 may not be enough. It may be chased down, or Melbourne can defend. This time, another good delivery. Puran defense ends the over 3 for 72. We are back live. It's 3 for 80, 11 and a half overs, 3 for 80. Darcy Short continues to bowl and he's already gone for 8 runs in the first 3 balls, which means he's under pressure as Stoinis back into attack. This time Stoinis pulls into the crowd. 50 for Stoinis. A brilliant knock under bit of pressure, but he continues his cool, calm demeanor. And do these performances make a difference as far as playing for his national team is concerned? Well, that will be seen very soon. 53 of 37, it was short, and taking advantage of the short boundaries, it smashed far into the grass banks. This time, Stoinis cuts, and takes a single. So a huge over for Australia. 15 from the over, and the catch was taken or dropped. It was taken in the crowd. Well, it was probably dropped. We'll see. This time, Puran cuts. That's 16 from the over. Over ends, 12 gone. Aggression stemming in from the Melbourne Stars. It's 3 for 88. Marcus Stoinis, 54 not out with 2 4s and 5 6s. 6 of the hit with such. And there comes the second part of the power play. The power surge has been taken from the 12th, 13th to the 15th over. And this is the time for, well, this sometimes works in favor of the bowling team. It sometimes works in favor of the batting team. That's something we will assess after this tournament is finished, but it's not a bad ploy to have such a thing. It's a domestic tournament, not affected by international rules. As Scott Boland comes, Puran, an appeal, but it hits the pads, so he escapes with a wide. Wide not given, wicket not taken, win-win for both the sides. So it's a little bit more on the lose-lose for the bowler because he doesn't get a wicket. It was down the leg side, so it hit the brush the pads. Would DRS work? Maybe that. This time Puran goes, you big, and this is a 6. So Puran decided that this is the power surge and time to show his talent, what he has been recruited in this tournament and other tournaments for. It was a straight hit, a full delivery, and Puran says, well, I have had enough time waiting. He moves across short boundaries. If this was Melbourne, this would have been as both the players did not even bother to run. They could have been run out had the catch been taken or fielded. As we see, flicked on the pads. This time he gets enough bat and 10 runs from the first 3 balls. And Scott Boland is now under pressure as he bowls another delivery on the pads on the leg stump. And the power surge has already resulted in 10 runs from 3 balls. Of course, the two best players to take the power surge. And Puran suddenly is on 21 of 17, which looks so much comfortable than 11 of 15. And now the fielders being brought in, 2 fielders out, deep mid wicket and probably fine leg. I'll have to check again as Puran gets ready. Will it be a Yorker? Will it be a short delivery? It's a short delivery. He pulls away and he beats the fielder, and that's a beautiful shot by Nicholas Puran, who had been waiting for a long time. He waited, and suddenly 14 runs from 4 balls, and the first 4 balls of the power surge has worked in the batting team's favor. A good short delivery, he gets on top of it, puts it behind square, and it beats that deep mid-wicket boundary, the fielder over there. It splits the gap perfectly as Puran gets ready. Another short delivery flicked. This time it's been protected and they will be back for 2 runs. They might come back for three. No, they come back for 3 runs. Good running. Excellent running. So 6-4-4. It was one. Well, could have been three. Just 1 run. Despite a couple of missed fields, it was just 1 run. As we get ready for the final ball of the first power surge, and the run rate suddenly looks more appealing at 8 runs per over. 15 from this over, a big over from Darcy Short, and he may have to bring in Sandeep Lameshane or Riley Meredith or one of Nathan Ellis to stem this run flow, as Stoinis and Puran now look to be aggressive. The final ball of the 13th over, and Boland bowls to Stoinis, who tries to go big. It's a top edge, and this is a six, a huge over, 21 runs from it. And Melbourne Stars are now looking very comfortable. Ends the over, 13 gone, 3 for 109. I predicted Nathan Ellis comes back, and it and Puran defense. As I predicted, one of the fast bowlers, Nathan Ellis, comes back, and it's a chance for him to get a wicket. He bowls fast. He bowls around 150. As the run rate is nearing that 8.5 run per over mark. Now they can get to 170. It will be a good score. Still around less than 6.5 overs to go. This time Puran tries to play the big heave, and Nathan Ellis, as predicted, he was brought to take a wicket. The pace got too much for Nicholas Puran, who has to depart after playing a struggling knockout 26. He did get a few runs, but he never looked comfortable. He was swinging off the fences. The pace got to him before he could even do it. Inside edge of the pads into the stumps, and Nicholas Puran has to depart, and So it's a 1-all situation as far as the power surge goes for both the teams. 13 runs so far, 21 runs so far, and a wicket. So Puran has to depart for 26. It's 4 for 109. As we get ready for Marcus Stoinis, Hinton Cartwright comes into the attack. And the first ball has gone away for a boundary. Bit of a misfield by Colin Ingram, another former South African player, now a freelance player. And the first ball was carted away to the boundary by Cartwright. Another young player emerging from Melbourne, a former Perth Scorchers player, as 13 and a half overs, 13.4 overs, 4 for 113. So run rate hovering around 8, and if they want to get to 160, well, this is another good player who has come. So we keep saying that, we keep repeating that Stoinis is the glue. He has to keep hitting. Cartwright, Pooran, Maxwell have to support him. This time, straight to the fielder, 13 and a half overs, and it's been a good over from Nathan Ellis. 1.5 overs, 1 for 16, 4 runs, and a wicket. There's a double header tonight, though I won't be doing commentary for the other match. This was on a one match deal only, and the first half of that deal. As Cartwright gets ready, 4 of 3, so a good start, but under pressure. Stoinis waiting, hoping that somebody can keep supporting him, that they can get to 165, 170. Let's see what happens as we get ready for the final ball of the power surge. This time he tries to cut and take a quick single. 14 overs gone. It's 4 for 114, and the power surge has come to an end.
It's 11:45.
So Riley Meredith gets a chance now to keep continuing with the wicket taking habits. 35 balls to go. Power surge going either team side, 1 wicket and a lot of runs being scored as we get ready for the 15th over. Meredith to Cartwright, who plays it away, and they will come back for 2. A quick 2. Well, a quick single taken, and Cartwright gets back on strike. All the pressure on him. Well, I would predict somewhere between 165 and 170. That means Stoinis now has to explode. He should get strike, but it doesn't mean that his teammates who come in should not get an opportunity. So it's a very strange kind of a situation. Who should get an opportunity, who should not? As Cartwright gets ready, Cartwright pulls it away and a single taken, which means Stoinis on strike, a fast bowler in the form of Meredith. So 2 wickets each to Meredith and Nathan Ellis. Only individuals to get a wicket so far. So Meredith in his last over, another 27, 28-year-old bowler coming into play. He's been playing for the last 2 years. Once again, the run rate going down. Now it's hovering at 8. It was around 8.5 a couple of overs ago. Pressure rising on Stoinis. Can he score a few runs in this over? No, he doesn't. The pace gets on him. Nicely bowled by Ellis, bowling short of a lane, bowling quick, and 3.4 overs, 2 for 23 for Meredith. And the score for Melbourne Stars is 4 for 118. So 2 balls to go for the end of the 15th over. And it's a 50-50 situation because both teams have done well so far. As Meredith steaming in to Cartwright. And this time he beats him completely, misses the stumps, the ball misses the outside edge and straight to the keeper. So this has been a very good over. Impressive bowling by Meredith, and I presume that he will want to finish. So he has the most wickets in this tournament. So a local guy has got the wickets. Imagine that happening in the Indian tournament. If Rabada and Andrea Nokia doesn't get wickets, the tournament is not good enough. But the teams have only played 7, 8 matches. So a long way to go for that. As we get ready, a Yorker, misfielded, single taken, hits the stumps and they take the ricochet. Ends the over, 15 gone, it's 4 for 120. 4 for 120. Melbourne Stars going at 8 runs per over. Marcus Stoinis, another emerging all-round. He's already, as Sandeep Lameshane gets a bowl, which means chance for someone like Stoinis to go after the spinner. So a leg spinner bowling in the last 5 overs, what one calls the death overs. I don't think it makes a difference. Stoinis straight to the fielder, beats the fielder, and they will get 2 runs. Nicely run. Doesn't matter if it's a leg spinner to the right hander to a left hander. Do these minor things make a difference? Because these are waste of time conversations, whether it's the right hander, the left handers, or whatever. As we get ready, Stoinis pulls, and this will land outside for a 6, as predicted. The leg spinner bowls short on the pads outside leg stump, and Stoinis, who's been hitting sixes for fun, his sixth six of the match, I presume. It was short wide off the back foot. Well, a good bowler, but and dropped in the crowd. Maybe they're hesitant in picking it up because of well-known reasons. This time, Stoinis cuts and takes a single, moves on to 70. The score moves on to 4 for 129 after 15.3 overs. As we get ready for the fourth ball of his third over, this time Cartwright takes a single, smartly done, and getting the more aggressive guy and the set guy who scored nearly 650% of the runs so far do the job. That's what it is. It's such a simple thing. As we get ready for the final ball of the 16th over, 11 runs from it. And if they go in this direction, they will get to 170, 175. Single taken, 16 overs completed, 4 for 132, time for a short break. Stoinis on 71 with 7 sixes. 4 overs to go. This time tries to cut but misses. Hilton Cartwright tries to cut. Nathan Ellis has 2 overs, so he'll bowl the 17 and probably the last over or the 19th over, depending on what plan is being concocted by Peter Hanscom and his deputy Ben McDermott. So just going over 8 runs per over as Ellis steams in. This and Cartwright takes a single straight to deep mid wicket. 71 of 44 for Stoinis. Cartwright just doing what he's supposed to do, not let a wicket fall. Yes, he may be scoring 13 of 13, which means in a way that he's not scoring fast. It means the pressure is rising on Stoinis, but that's the way it is. And it is a no ball. Wow, that is a no ball. A no ball has been called by the third umpire and a free hit for Stoinis, which means the field can change because the batters crossed. So let's see how will Stoinis take advantage of this situation. Stoinis hits top edge and no run and just a single. So the free hit not resulting in too much of damage. It was a good short delivery. Stoinis got across too early and it went in the no person's land. 16.2 overs, 4 for 135. For four balls remaining in this over, as Cartwright on strike, Ellis steaming in. This time Cartwright pulls it away, and this has been dispatched into the crowd. So the first poor delivery by Ellis, which has been dispatched. So 1-4 for 141, 16.3 overs. And after a slow start in the first 10, the starts are on fire as Cartwright takes a single, just 20 balls to go. 1.5 runs per ball can get them to 170. 2 runs per ball can get them to 180 plus. 180 will be a very good score, but that means Stoinis will have to. Well, he has had good support and not necessarily Maxwell, but Puran and Cartwright. This is how the nature of their play is. You could be on 10 of 10, you could make 40 or 50 of 20 as Stoinis flicks, but a single taken, good wide delivery so far. 11, 13 from this over so far. 11, 12 from this over so far. My apologies. And this partnership looking good. 34 of 22. The final ball of the 17th over. Cartwright plays, takes the single, good over for Melbourne Stars. 17 gone, 4 for 144. The last 3 overs for Melbourne Stars, which means someone like Johan Botha, Sandeep Lameshane may bowl those overs as Lameshane comes back. Cartwright goes big and beats the fielder. A brilliant hit. So he has begun to contribute. He is a good player. He has been known in these circles for a long time. And young Sandeep Lameshane, it was tossed up, invitation accepted by the batter, and it goes past the boundary, long on boundary for a six. Maybe he'll
It's
try
12
to
hours.
bowl this again. This time, a quick single taken, and this could be a run out. No, a tight single, and Stone is back on strike. He bowls off the back foot, and that was almost, had he hit, he was gone. As Stoinis gets ready. This time, short ball, cut 4. So Lameshane going for runs against his former team, though in this instance, there are no current teams and there are no former teams. You play whoever gives you whoever pays your bills, you play for them, and is shifting from one team to the other. That's contractual obligation. As Lameshane bowls, you take a single. Tomorrow, someone like Marcus Torrance could be recruited by some other team. That will depend if Melbourne Stars management is ready to release him. Though I have no idea how the rules work. They don't reveal these rules. As 12 runs from this over. This time Cartwright sweeps successfully into the crowd. So a huge over resulting 16 runs of this over, a big over for Melbourne Stars, and a total around 180, 190 beckons them. The run rate is now 9, and the hitting has come in the last few overs. Short boundaries, the leg spinner bowling in the last few overs, of course, always a danger of things happening. And once again, a catch taken or dropped, who knows? As Lameshane bowls the final ball. And I think this tournament, where they brought the crowds, will be a template for other tournaments in the world, whether it's hockey, football, cricket, even WWE, to maybe start having crowds. But that's a very tough decision to start having crowds. It's not a straightforward decision. As we get ready, for the final 2 overs, Cartwright 35 or 20 contributing very well this time. He goes for the cut and the umpire says it's not a wide. As the batter moved with the delivery, so the umpire said it's not a wide. As we get ready, a yorker and the batter takes away to long on, which means Marcus Stoinis will be on strike at 78 of 48, and exactly half his score is Cartwright, 36 of 22. As we get ready for the third ball, Stoinis gets across to leg stump, off stump, and only a single. So far, a very good over by Nathan Ellis. So 18 and a half overs, 4 for 165, total between 170, 175, or even more beckons them, all on these two, but this is a very good over. Hits and misses. So just 2 runs from 4 balls, which means Ellis has made up for what Sandeep Lameshane gave, around 20 in that over. So the last 8 balls of this match, and see, no timeouts, nothing. This is what I love. Just concentrating on the match. No wasting time in timeouts, no 5 minutes wasted, and there will be a short gap between the innings, which, well, it's debatable as the final ball. Once again, Nathan Ellis succeeds. Cartwright swings, misses, and Nathan Ellis succeeds in breaking this partnership. He swung inside edge, similar to what uh, Andre Fletcher got in the first over, but this hit the stumps, which means Seb Gotch, the keeper, will arrive. It's 5 for 165. As Step Gotch, the keeper, comes into the last 7 balls of this match. What can he do? All the pressure on Sonas, who's batted well, but he's been deprived of strike in the last few balls. And this is turning out to be a brilliant over by Nathan Ellis. And Seb Gotch tries to flick it away, and this will be taken. So 2 wickets and 2 runs in the over. Had he got one more over, he would have been a hat trick. But a successful over for the Hobart Hurricanes. 2 wickets in succession, and Stars have got to a good score at 6 for 165. He tried to flick it away, and a nice catch, nice thoughtful approach by the keeper. Usually such flicks end up going to the boundary, but it didn't get the distance, the par. Seb Gotch goes first ball, it's 6 for 165. So the final ball of the Melbourne Stars innings, and it's on Stoinis to finish, and he starts off on a positive note as the first ball reaches the boundary. He moves on to 83 and a chance to get to 100. Short ball wide, and he said, I had enough of seeing people come and go. I have to take this match. And he's scored exactly 50% of the runs, 83 out of a total of 169, with contributions from Puran and Cartwright. The second ball of the over, and this time wide delivery, but a single taken. Will he take the single? He does not take the single. Of course, this is such a common thing. You're on strike. I mean, if you have got Adam Zampa on the other side, why will you take a single? You are the last guy remaining. You don't want to risk any more wickets falling. You've already scored around 170, which is a very good score. So a couple of sixes will seal the deal for Stars. It's a deal breaker if it takes a single. This time it splits the gap. It goes past the fielder. It cannot be called a catch drop. I wouldn't call it a catch drop. It was hit with immense power. It burst through the hands of Peter Hanscom. I cannot call that a drop catch. It could have gone either way, a wicket or a boundary, but it worked in favor of the batting team as 6 for 173 has been scored. A very good score in the context of what I've seen in this tournament. Shot wide, and the third boundary of the over for Marcus Stoinis, and he's now looking for that elusive 100. 10 runs away, 12 runs from this over. Had he left it, it would have been a wide, but he said, I'm not letting anything go. 12 runs, nearing his another T20 domestic 100, as The final two balls of this over. This time straight down the ground, and this is a six. Moves on to 97 with that powerful shot. 95 for a boundary. My apologies. So either he gets a boundary, remains on 99, or gets a six. But it's a good score. I had predicted 180. They have reached that score 180, and I don't need to use any of these fantasy teams to know. So the final ball of the innings, 16 runs from this over, a lot of discussion between the batter and the bowler, and a lot of field changes happening, which usually happens when the batter goes berserk in the last over. Scoring over more than 55%, when you score more than 52% of the runs, then of course you bat till the last, play a long innings. Well, that's what that's what they mean by it. So the final ball of the over, Swan is on 95, 16 from this over. This time he flicks it away, a good delivery on the pads, and he will not get to his 100, but Melbourne Stars will get to 6 for 183. And Hobart Hurricanes need 184 to win from their 20 overs at 9 runs per over, with all the pressure on the likes of Ben McDermott, Peter Hanscom, David Milan, and Darcy Short. The four individuals who can do the job, who have the experience and the maturity. So this ends my commentary, the first of the Australian 20 over domestic World Cup. I will be back with more such in the next episode whenever a match happens, a double header on a Monday. So thank you for listening to this episode. I will end this ends episode number 308 on the 4th of January 2021.